त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्युर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्युर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्. There's this Chinese saying, before enlightenment you chop wood, and after enlightenment you chop wood, So there's an element of that. My day to day doesn't change. It literally, I have my schedule is laid out. I know exactly what I'm going to do with or without the Grammy. My day to day doesn't change. What does change to some degree is, we will just have more attention for mantras, for chanting. Suddenly, I'm just noticing, and I haven't even gotten into the debate yet, but I'm noticing a lot more discussion about chanting on a global stage. So to me, the fact that this has been my life's work, I think that really, I think, is what will change. I've already had, it's funny, because of the Grammy, probably just this morning, I've probably had about completely non Indian people saying, you know, the Mahamrityunjay, which is in Pathway to Light, is my go-to track. I didn't know about this, and there's something this mantra does to me. What does it mean? Can you explain this? So I've had lots of different people writing about this. That makes me feel very proud to be able to explain this because this has been my life. Those are the mantras that have transformed my life. It's magical, and because people suddenly understand what is the Mahamrityunjay. Oh, it's a mantra for immortality. It's a mantra that's used when people are ill because it tells you, let's transcend whatever travails you're having at this moment and let us understand that we are immortal beings and our spirit lives on and let us just rise above it. That's what the Mahamrityunjay mantra says. And so to repeat it many times and to even learn it is extraordinary. I never lost touch with music. I cannot because music is part of me. But I did different kinds of music. So when I was I sang when I was very young. I had some traditional Indian classical Carnatic music lessons, and I was listening to mantras and chants and more Indian music, and of course Western as well. Growing up in Chennai, but then over my career in Europe, in the US, and Brazil, all over the world, Australia, I didn't stay as much in touch with Indian music. It's really hard to because you have a full-time job. You're working 24/7 pretty much. In fact, I was going to say when I was nominated the first time for the Grammy, you know who else was nominated with me? My hero, Sergio Mendes. And I was in love with Brazil 66, his album. I'd heard it. So I was more excited by the fact that Sergio Mendes was on the ballot with me than I was about the fact that I was nominated for the. To be a good singer, you need to practice. You need to get, uh, you know, and I wanted to learn because I heard these great masters and I wanted to sing like them, not to get anywhere. I didn't want to perform. I didn't want to make albums, none of this. I just wanted to sing. Music, it was a constant companion with the radio. But when we were growing up in Chennai, at that time the power cuts were a lot, so there was no radio because we didn't have battery. So half the time there was no power and it would be dark. How we would entertain ourselves during power cuts is sing. And we would I can tell you so many songs. So that's what I'm saying. And then we also had jobs. I come from a very simple family. Uh, we've done better later on, but we grew up in the simplest of households. We didn't have help. We cleaned the floors. So I we have red oxide floors, and I every night one of my jobs was to clean the floor with cow dung and water and a broom made of coconut, which we would actually create the broom, and we had to wash the floor with water, the kitchen floor. And I can remember sitting right this minute as I'm sitting here, I can recall all the songs I was singing when I was cleaning the floors. So every experience in my life was punctuated by music. And through my life, I wasn't trying to sing like anyone. my own voice, and I wasn't trying to sing or perform. I loved everyone. I loved music in all its forms. So when I got into French music, I just devoured and Enrico Macias. When I got into MS Subbulakshmi, I knew all her songs. And Lata Mangeshkar, I knew all her songs. Asha Bhonsle. I performed Damaro Dam in college. It was the hit of my college thing. In fact, some of my college people to this day remember that I was performing at IIT for Damaro Dam. So I devour all the Asha Bhosle songs. So it's kind of, I'm like a leech when it comes to music. I love music. Give me a piece. There's not a piece of music I've met that I haven't loved. But Triveni happened because I was meant to do that. The team came to me, Wouter came to me and said, "Hey, please, would you work with us on this album?" And I said, "Okay." But he said, "Oh, but you can't do your other album at the same time because, we want to release this first." I said, "Okay, it's time to do the other one." We sat together, we fought, we had fun, we created, we were in the studio, and we had never met each other. So we just plied each other with, I mean, they came to my apartment. We just were in New York, not for hours. We would finish late at night and start early in the morning, and we just did music. And then the skeletons of Triveni emerged. We went back to our respective places. I'm in New York, Eru's in LA, and Wota's in Johannesburg. So we all worked remotely after that. And we had and our mixing engineer was in LA, and then we had our other producers that were also in Amsterdam and South Africa. So this is a multi-global team. But these days, this is the wonder of technology that you can come together in the most magical ways. It's a little sad because first, my grandson Kavi, who's brilliantly musical, and he's the guy that inspired me because the way the whole album for Amu's Treasure started is my daughter would allow me to put my grandson to bed when they came to visit me. And the bedtimes would start, he'd say, Amu, sing when he could speak. And then he would fall asleep when I sang. It started out with three songs, then it would go, he says, Amu, more. Or he would ask me for more of the same song. So then suddenly my bedtimes would stretch to 2 hours. So I was doing a full concert for this little boy. But I want to tell you one more thing, which is even music is connected to I Am Ahmedabad, my getting in as well. By then I had been performing a lot with French music on radio, and I was performing at the Alliance Francaise. I was quite a well-known performer in French songs in Chennai. I mean, it's a small town, so there weren't too many people. There was nobody else performing what I was doing. So in my resume for I Am Ahmedabad, other than my academic credentials, I had put in performance of French songs. Okay, so who puts that in, right? They probably never had one person with that. As luck would have it, of course, I'd cleared all the entrance exams and everything, and the 100,000 apply, and then finally 500 get called for the final interviews, and they take 100 something. So we're in this 5-to-1 ratio, and I'm the last interview of the day for three professors. So we go through this, and they grill me on contract law and all of this for a 1 hour interview. So at the last 5 minutes of the interview, Professor Mohan Kaul, who now is living in Paris or England in Europe, he has spent his entire many years of his education at the Sorbonne in Paris. Who expected that? Professor Mohan Kaul, in perfect French, puts his arm this way and he says, "Okay, you have done French. Now," he says, "this is the end of a very long day for us. Why don't you sing us a song in French?" So three IIM professors in the toughest interview that I've been through, literally for almost 50 minutes, because I was the last interview and I was a woman. I don't know what the reasons were. They killed me with the interview, with the content side of the interview. And the last few minutes was, "Will you sing us a song?" And I sang a song in French, Les Feuilles Mortes, which is a very, very profound song. I sang that, and I think that's why I got into I Am Ahmedabad. So music's played a part in my life in every which way, consciously and unconsciously. I went to Citibank. I went to Beirut, and war-torn Beirut in the middle of the civil war in 1975, which was my first trip abroad. So my entire McKinsey interviews, which was 16 of them, but with all the different 16 interviews to hire me at McKinsey over 3 days, was in three different saris. Who knew there were four seasons? You know, I would try to buy things on sale. I didn't have a dress sense. I was always converting to rupees. I would look at a shirt and say, "Oh my God, this is so expensive." I'd never afforded that kind of thing back in India. I came straight from India here. And so I would buy $4 shirts from Kmart. uh, and then I would buy things on sale. And I remember at the middle of the most sweltering summer we ever had, I was wearing the thickest brown suit that you could ever find. Number one, brown was a absolute no-no color because I was working for the banking industry. So that was the whole, as I said, music helped me find myself. So through music, I found meditation, and through meditation, I found service. So that was the change. So to me, I don't think of it as philanthropy. I think of it as an opportunity to serve. That's my first instinct. I've built dharamshalas, I've built dormitories and temples. I've done so much in India in that space, most of it anonymously, some of it known. But and so I went to IIM Ahmedabad many, many years ago in 2010 to ask them if they would, if we could come up with something. We have a foundation. I've had a foundation for a long time. I mean, so in fact, all our resources go to the foundation. So everything I do is for the foundation now. It's not. I'm very involved with the TM Foundation and the Maharishi University, and we are going to be starting a whole lot of work in the space of sound and resonance and healing. At 70, I'm working so hard. It's insanity. I was trying to be the best family person, meet all the Indian values because I would have in-laws, I would have family that would show up. We couldn't afford a lifestyle where I could do that. I had a very big job. I was running a company. I was creating a company, managing all the issues of the company. Every kid in this school is going to have to be working live in a company. So many of these students go to school in the whole day, and then the evening they go and work for several hours as an intern in corporations. And the fourth thing is we're giving them a solid grounding in liberal arts as well. So those are the four themes that the school's education is embedded, in addition to, of course, finance and marketing and all of that stuff. So it's a very unique curriculum. I'm very proud and excited. We have a lot of people engaged, the business the people of business leaders of India who are engaged in making this better. So because those are the things I learned so much in my life from these principles. I came in with a certain set of ideas about who I was and what I wanted to do, but it's completely blown apart my world. That's what I want these kids to walk out of there, that they are citizens for the 21st century. With AI and technology, they don't have to be the best calculators because calculators exist, computers exist. You don't need every you need to understand how to navigate with resilience this very complex and increasingly complex world. So to me, the that's what we are creating with the business school, and I'm very grateful that the team at the business school is doing a fantastic job of making this happen. If I died today, I would die happy. There's nothing I would do differently. Nothing I would do differently. I have no regrets.